Good afternoon, Facebook. How's everybody doing?
Good afternoon.
This is episode 8 of our podcast, Things My Mother Never Told Me. We got a very special guest for you today.
Ooh,
First,
unique.
Can you say hi?
Hi. How's everybody doing on today?
All right. So now we're going to introduce our special guest. I know some of y'all been waiting to see this young lady.
Well. Here we go. Please meet Lakia Wilson. She comes from a long line of educators. She serviced students of all ages, first grade school teacher, elementary, middle school, and community college counselor. Lakia is a lifelong Detroiter with a bachelor's in elementary education from Eastern Michigan University and a master's in counseling from Oakland University. Working 22 years with Detroit Public Schools, she's experienced firsthand disparities in education. In 2016, Lakia and American Federation of Teachers created a mini documentary sparking national and international outrage. Woo! The catalyst causing Ellen DeGeneres to donate $500,000 to Spain school. Lakia has served on many coalitions, school board, and city council candidate screenings, and has been featured on media outlets, local, national, and international. Currently, Lakia is Executive Vice President of Detroit Federation of Teachers, a Vice President of AFT Michigan, and an adult education instructor at the Detroit Reentry Center Prison. Lakia is an active member of Deliverance Center Outreach Ministries. Whoa, I'm tongue-tied today. Rising Sun Graham Chapter OES and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc. Lakia is a newlywed and a mother of 5-year-old Noah. Lakia's favorite quote from Malcolm X: "Education is the passport to the future." Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, so glad to have you in the house today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here with you.
Right. And Lakia and I go way, way back. Let me ask you a question though. We always ask all our guests this. Because you didn't put it on here. You're a lifelong Detroiter. What school did you go to?
Okay, that's a good question. I was born, raised, lived, and still work in Detroit. So I am a true lifelong Detroiter. I started at St. Andrew's Preschool right on 12th Street before you get to Davison. Mm-hmm. From St. Andrews, I went to Sugar and Spice, Kinder World right there on Wyoming. Mm-hmm. From Sugar and Spice, Kinder World, I kept right in that same, it was a private school. Okay. I went to Pyramid Elementary School. My friends all left and went to public school, and I cried. And so I went to Beaubien Junior High School.
All right.
And then after Beaubien Junior High School, my mother said, okay, let's come on out with me. My mother taught at Mount Clemens Public Schools. Okay. So I ended up graduating from Mount Clemens High School.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's different.
Right, you went to a variety of types of schools then.
I did. Yeah. I did. From the Presbyterian preschool to the private K through 6, and then public 7 through 12.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things that we stress to our listeners is that you can be a DPS student and still be successful and still influence in whatever field you choose to go into.
Sure.
Right. So, and I see you went to graduate at Eastern Michigan University.
Yeah. Woo.
Right. So that's good. And you studied education there too, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Special education, physically handicapped.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and recently married. Congratulations.
Yay!
This was our 1-month anniversary. So yes.
Yes, you are still officially a newlywed.
Without a doubt. I hope so. It's 1 month in. Yeah. All right. And so I see a ton of things on here. Order of Eastern Star, Delta Sigma Theta. So you do a lot of community service.
Yes, I do. The service that we render is our rent here on earth. So we have to pay it forward. We have to reach back and lift our brothers and sisters up, because if they aren't going anywhere, we aren't going anywhere.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Without a doubt. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of all this. You are, well, I know you were a counselor. Were you a counselor at Spain?
Yes.
Yes. And so you were instrumental in Ellen DeGeneres bringing that money and bringing out some of the things that were going wrong at the school. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if you could just share that with us, that would be great.
Sure. So at the time, the district was under emergency management. We had been under emergency management almost 20 years, and the district just fell into disrepair. There were no updates done on majority of our schools. And even though we would make reports of them to the district, and the district will come out and look at the buildings, they were basically just taking notes, but allowing the buildings to fall into disrepair, because the plan was to sell them or charterize the district, really. And so once we learned that we needed to get into the political arena, we started playing.
There you go.
And so we realized that we needed to let people see that we come to work every day and we give our best to these babies, and these are the conditions that we work in. They fund the NBA, the NFL with no problem, but they don't have any money for our children. Our children are our future.
Yes.
And so people needed to see that this is how our children go to school. And we cannot quantify a child. And when I say that, I'm trying to say that a child in Detroit is not worth any more or any less than a child in West Bloomfield.
Yes.
A child in Benton Harbor is not worth more or less than a child in Grosse Pointe. So we know that there are many inequities in education, and we decided to put ours on display. You know how when you have company come to your house and you got that room that's not quite fixed up, and so you close the door in that room. You don't let your company see that room. And so that's what we would do in our schools. We would not let our parents see those areas that were just crumbling and in shambles, and we would try to fix them up as best as we could. And so we said, nope, enough of that. We're just gonna let everybody in. And so AFT Michigan, AFT National came into Detroit and filmed our school, and it went viral. It went worldwide.
Yes, I remember that.
All right. And so for those who don't know, AFT is American Federation of Teachers.
Yes, that's our parent union. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Right. And it was right. Because we witnessed Ellen and the donation that came in and the presenting of the check. And that was a sad but proud moment.
Yes.
Just to see that somebody cared.
Yes.
Yeah. And it really helps when you get that spotlight shined on stuff from outside, because it makes folks clean up inside.
That's exactly what happened. Yes.
Yeah. So that was
great.
You
know, there's always room for improvement. That's the biggest room on earth, the room for improvement.
Right.
So, there's still ground that we need to cover in terms of our schools and the things that they need. But there has been much improvement. Okay,
cool. I'm glad to hear there's been some improvement. And because we're not under financial management anymore, right?
Not emergency
management. Yeah, that's.
But left over from the old code, new code, we do have a financial review commission that is in place. That when the city declared bankruptcy, the city finances had to go before what's called the Financial Review Commission.
Right.
The district was also on its knuckles, and so when they formed the Financial Review Commission, they said, well, let's throw the district in there too. So our finances are heavily scrutinized. Our spending, the district spending by the Financial Review Commission. So the district is in very good financial shape.
Very good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So I'm trying to think where I want to go right now, but we can get to this other thing last. So last week, we're gonna jump right in this. There was a vote taken by your union to decide what, what steps you want to do or what options you have going forward with the school year. Can you share that with us?
Sure. Last week, the Detroit Federation of Teachers took a safety strike authorization vote, which authorizes the union leadership, President Terrence Martin and myself, in the need that an agreement is not reached to start a safety strike. What the difference in a safety strike and a strike is that a safety strike is not withholding work.
Okay.
So teachers are not saying we don't want to teach. We're saying we want to teach in safe conditions.
Okay.
We are in a pandemic. We can't forget that.
Right.
And the teachers don't trust and don't believe the district will be able to provide all that they need, all that we need to enter a safe school year. Because during a regular school year, we don't have what we need, not with fidelity, right? And so we can't go a day without garbage bags, or we can't go a day without masks like we would, because again, we always do more with less in the urban school districts, and I'm just telling the truth.
Right.
But in this situation, we can't make those accommodations.
Right.
We have to have what we need because this virus is life or death.
Yeah, I hear you. So what are we doing moving forward? Because school year is almost here.
Yes.
So what have you heard?
So we are in talks with the district, with the school board, with the superintendent and his cabinet. And we are trying to have a meeting of the minds and just trying to understand why we're demanding some things and why the district is demanding some things. We've had some progressive talks since last week. The unfortunate part, and I've said this to the school board and to the superintendent, is that we requested these talks months ago. And it should not have taken the threat of a safety strike to bring us all together to find out what the membership needs.
Right. So the question that I would have is that we know that in the district there are some students who probably won't get anything if they have to take classes from home. They just won't. There are a lot of, we teach after school, we assist with after school program at our church. And we know, and we also were over at Mumford the other day passing out tablets for students. And even then, it was a whole lot of folks that hadn't come and got their tablets. So we know that there are some deficiencies at home. So what's the plan?
We know that virtual learning will never replace face-to-face instruction. That's just the bottom line. Nothing can. That's just like when you're absent and then you come back the next day or the next week and you ask for makeup work. You can get the makeup work, but that does not replace the instruction that you missed. So virtual, we have to do something to keep our young people, keep their minds active and try to keep them on track as best as we can, especially towards graduation, and towards the end of the year benchmarks in terms of curriculum. So what we're doing is doing the best we can. The platform that the district developed for distance learning is great. True, some of our students won't get much from it because it does require for you to be somewhat computer literate. And so understand that many of our parents are not there. They may not have the technology to do so. There's a large population that access school from their phones, not a computer, not a tablet, but they're attempting to do their assignments from a cell phone. And you can't do the same things from your phone that you can do from your computer or your tablet. So we recognize that. The superintendent recognized that and was able to partner with Connected Futures which was a whole lot of corporations that came together to purchase over 51,000 computers, tablets with detachable keyboards that have a 6-month internet card within them to distribute to all of our students. Okay. However, as you have already stated, there is a percentage of computers that have been yet to be picked up. Yeah. And that's unfortunate.
Right, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
You know what? And my son and his wife, they have a 6-year-old that was tested for this school. They had to come in and they she had they had that initiation test. Mm-hmm. And so when she got on the computer, she didn't do so well. But when the teacher was with her on the computer, then of course her score went up. But they found out that their child does not like being on the computer. She'd rather have the in-person schooling.
Yes.
So that's causing a situation.
Oh, sure. I'm definitely afraid for our young people. Once we get on the other side of this pandemic, they have suffered many losses, not just physical losses of maybe parents and relatives, grandparents.
Oh, yes.
They have suffered a loss of socialization, and they are at home with their parents or their siblings or grandparents or whomever all day, not getting much emotional support, not getting support with their academics. And so our children are definitely going to need a lot of support on the other side of COVID. So sure, we have the CARES Act now that is going to pipe millions of dollars into education. But we need CARES Act from now on, not just now. We need it from now on because this class of children, everyone who's in school now, from kindergarten all this population of students will need care from here on out. I'm sure some have developed PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, just from having to quarantine and wear masks and sanitizer. It has definitely changed everyone's lives.
Yes, it has. And we look forward to seeing what you guys can do in partnership with the board and with the executive moving forward, because it's a sad situation, but we got to figure out a way to make it work for everybody concerned. So bravo for the work that you're doing. Is there anything else about this issue that you want to share with us till we move on to something else?
We are close to reaching an agreement, and I am very proud of the work that we all have done. The negotiating team on the Detroit Federation of Teachers side. I'm proud of the work of the district for coming to the table and listening to the membership and incorporating some very, very important aspects that needed to have attention and be addressed in the letter of agreement that will be coming forth. Beautiful. So I'm very proud of that work. It has been tough, rough. I don't even have another adjective. Rough, tough, rough. It has been.
I'm telling you, it has been in times like these.
Right.
In times like these.
Where James Brown at when you need some words? Look, where James Brown at we need some words like that.
Yeah.
Yes. That was his forte. One word. All right. So we pray, continue to pray for you guys in the work and pray that something big comes soon.
Yes.
Later, so we can get back on track. Because I know last year, we jumped over that, but we went through, this was more pressing because last year it didn't end so well. And the seniors, although, most of us old folks say, well, it wasn't just graduation, just a prom, but they missed out on something that was just very special in a student's life.
Yes. Once in a lifetime opportunities, once in a lifetime events, your graduation, your prom, senior pictures, senior pinnings, all sorts of banquets, sports events and activities.
Yeah.
Students missed out. Those things can't be recreated, just like the classroom can't be recreated with
Right.
online instruction.
Exactly.
We just, and schools really tried.
Yeah.
And they did provide graduation ceremonies where students came in one by one, but it's not the same.
Not the same.
It is not the same where you're there all together with your family and with your friends, and everyone can celebrate you. They missed that part. And again, that's going to add to some emotional trauma too,
Right.
because they will forever be without that experience.
Right. Right. Well, I'll say this to them, because I looked at a lot of the ceremonies that were done, and they do have something that nobody else can say they had, because the people brought out all kinds of all the bells and whistles to try to make it special for them. So
yes,
if nothing else, they can hang their hat on how special they were individually.
Yes.
So, I see the young fella back there getting busy.
Oh, that's my coworker.
Oh. giving out some work advice.
Yes.
Right. So yeah. So this has been, this has not been a great time to be in education, but it's been a special time because it allows for you to be creative in trying to cater to our students, to our young folks.
It really has, just like the COVID virus has shown a light on all the inequities in healthcare and in housing and in employment. It really has shown a even brighter light. I mean, because we've already known for years that education has been underfunded. But now, everything is just wide open to see how far back we are in terms of infrastructure in our state, infrastructure in our district, infrastructure in the city. And just to see that the culture around education really needs to change. We update a cell phone, every 6 months, you get a 12, in 6 months, they got a 12B, right? And so we're still operating in classrooms like 1970, 1980. We're still teaching in those classrooms with much of that furniture. And it's amazing when you go, if you ever have an opportunity to go to maybe a Groves in Birmingham High School, when you walk into those doors, or go into Royal Oak High School even, and just see the difference. It's a huge difference.
It is.
And, there shouldn't be one.
Right.
Because again, they're children, and they should have the same opportunities. They should have the same resources.
Right.
So that they're all given a chance.
Right. Right, without a doubt. I remember my daughter was in high school, and she was playing basketball, and we went to a tournament at Avondale, at Auburn Hills. And when we walked in that school, it was like, are we in a high school or college?
Yes.
I mean, it was ridiculous. The size of the school, the facilities. It was ridiculous.
The ceilings were gigantic.
Right, they literally had a campus.
Look at this cafeteria.
And then you turn around and go to a DPS school and you're in a one-room shack.
Yes.
if you will. So yeah, it's the
they had state-of-the-art equipment and all that. Right. The bathrooms was immaculate. I thought I was almost in Dubai.
Yeah.
I took a group of students to this was about 2 years ago. I took a group of students over to U of M and to their engineering lab. And they could write on their desktops, and they had never heard of that. They were very anxious about it. They didn't want to write on the desk, but that's how they could brainstorm and think and submit their assignments, because their desktops were glass, and they just gave them markers and they could write and use a sock to erase.
All right.
Amazing.
Wow.
Right. Because yeah, if you write on your desktop DPS, you go into the principal's office.
Yes.
That's right, because that furniture got to last another century.
well, at least the kids were the young folks were astute enough to make sure it was all right before they did it.
Yeah. They did.
Yeah, so that shows promise anyway.
Wow.
Okay, so let's segue a little bit here, and let's talk about some of your community work that you do.
Sure.
So if I don't give a shout out to these two organizations, I'm gonna be in trouble. Order of Eastern Star, let's start there. How has that helped you in your journey, or shaped you, or what has it not? Whatever.
Grand, I'm gonna call you Grand Deputy. Let me say this about the Order of Eastern Star. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I have many family members that are members even in this jurisdiction.
Right.
Actually, I will say that the Order of Eastern Star really helped to develop my leadership skills. And not that I wasn't a leader beforehand. Example, using parliamentary procedure to run a meeting. Who knew that I would ever need that skill, right?
Right.
Being able to tolerate folks.
All types of
like that. Come on,
all types of personalities and characters. Yes.
Be politically correct.
Being able to navigate people.
Yeah.
And being able to look back at myself to see where I made errors too, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so in this position, you got to have more than a tough skin. You have to eat nails, for breakfast, because the membership, they come for you.
Yeah.
I'm in this position. I'm elected to this position, and they pay my salary. So guess what? I am their servant.
Yes, you are.
And so with that comes a huge responsibility.
Oh yes, servant.
Absolutely. So the Order of Eastern Star definitely helped to shape me in the way of understanding meetings and motions. Again, as a teacher first and then a counselor, I didn't need those skills at all.
Right.
But I do now.
Yes.
And again, just learning how to navigate people, understand why people do some of the things they do, understanding politics and politricks. I got all of that firsthand.
Oh, you ready for the vote?
Yeah. Yes, we could tell you some stories, but we won't.
Yeah.
So
No, we won't.
but the thing about it is, we do this. It's amazing. Like you said, when you join, you didn't know what you was getting into.
No.
And when I joined the Masons, it was more a thing that a friend of mine's grandfather, he's a good friend of mine, he's the best man at our wedding, actually, his grandfather kept asking us to join, so we joined. And after I joined, I found out that my father used to be a Mason, but he had been long since deceased. But it's funny how we find out that if we trust God, because God puts us in situations that we don't understand.
Yes.
And then 10, 15 years later, we understand.
Yes.
Because like you said, you learn some skills that you never would have learned because you didn't really need them.
No. And I know I'm reading your backdrop. I know your mother said this. You will understand better by and by.
By and by.
So here is the by and by.
Yeah.
Where the parliamentary procedure, and again, navigating people and understanding voting and politics and the politricks, all of that. I learned it.
And servant leadership.
And most definitely servant leadership, because that's what being an Eastern Star is all about. You have to live it. You have to exemplify it.
Right.
So absolutely.
Beautiful. And I'll say this: when I was Grand Deputy, for those who don't know, if our jurisdiction is Grand Deputy, others is Grand Master. I served in that role, and Lakia was the Grand Matron.
All right.
You were joined at the hip.
Yeah, we were
All
compadres.
right.
You will see if you familiar with my Facebook page, you will see several pictures that she and I took together. That was during the time we were serving together. So just so everybody knows. So we'll segue away from there. We'll spend too much time on the Eastern Star, but I just wanted to get that out there so folks know because it is about leadership.
Yes.
And what people don't know is every person that's in that organization is a leader, whether they know it or not. They may be a leader at home, at school, at work, wherever. They're a leader and they just don't know it. And when we come together, because you can't lead if you can't follow.
That's right.
And so when you get a group of leaders together, somebody got to be the leader of the leaders. and so it teaches you that.
Yes.
And you do that leading without pay.
Yes, you
Right. So Delta Sigma Theta.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna sit back and let you go ahead.
Yeah, how did you start that? What led you there?
I am a member of the dynamic and devastating Detroit alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
All right.
I first learned about Delta from my family members. I was a little girl. I had some cousins that were like 19 and 20. They had just pledged at Middle Tennessee State University. They had those nice satin jackets. And I was a little girl. I was like, I'm going to have those letters, A, E, and O. I had no clue what they were, but as a 6, 7, 8-year-old, that's just what I thought it was. I wanted to be just like them.
Right. That's right.
And then finding out about other family members and everything that they do in the community. Finding out about our great historical figures, Mary McLeod Bethune, Shirley Chisholm, and Ambassador Aretha Franklin. I can go on and on.
Wow.
It was a no-brainer for me. My heart was already there from early childhood with my cousins, but then learning as an adult about everything, that was a no-brainer. So I am currently the co-chair of a committee. We have an event coming up in September. It's totally free for the community. It's our annual Shred Day. I believe it may be the 3rd Saturday in September. I will have to give you that date and the flyer. But it's a huge success. And thousands of cars just line up all down West 7 Mile to have their items shredded.
Okay, beautiful. So so is that the headquarters?
Yes, that is the headquarters.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, and what I'm announcing today, I haven't said before, but I created a Facebook page. Things my mother never told me. A lot of folks, if you're listening out there, you might have got a like request from me, and a lot of you did like. Hopefully everybody else will and share, because the information that my guests, like what you just said, that information, I'm going to post it on that page.
Okay.
So we'll have a central repository for all of the guests and the things that they're doing in the community. If they're selling something, we'll put it out there. It's up to you whether you want to buy it now, but I'll make it available for everybody so they can go see it. So that's good. But continue. Because I know you got a whole lot to talk about DST.
Yes. So right now
I'm
we're
sorry.
excited. The Deltas, we are excited for our Greek sister Kamala Harris.
Yes.
The Divine Nine. We are on cloud 9.
Yeah.
You know what? When she makes it, and whether you're Greek or not,
Right.
when she makes it, we all make it.
That's
Yes.
Right.
So we're excited. We can't wait to vote these next time. I don't know, 60, 70, how many days it is.
Right.
We're gonna be there.
Right.
We got to see this through.
Yeah.
So we are the Detroit alumni chapter will definitely be getting out the vote information.
Yes.
Again, folks with the census that have not completed their census, they definitely need to do that.
Right.
But Delta Sigma Theta does so much in the community. As co-chair of the community outreach committee, we adopted an entire school for Christmas 2019.
Okay.
We took over 300 gifts to the school. Every child received hats, gloves, scarves, books, and toys. It was just a beautiful event. I think I put
beautiful.
Oh, it was so humbling, and to see the children's faces. Just it was again. That's just what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Yeah, in the after school program, I had about almost 10 first graders, and I was in the store every day. I'm doing treats, I'm buying gloves, even suspenders that go attached to the gloves, so they go on socks.
Yes.
I was doing everything. I was like, why not? You had no socks in your gym shoes, cold as it is. But it's you fall in love with them so easily.
You do.
Right. And I'll say this. At one point when I was looking, I said, how in the heck are the Deltas doing all this stuff that they're doing? Because every time you turn around, somebody, a Delta, trying to sell you something or get you to do something or going somewhere doing something. And it's like, that's amazing if we could harness that.
Yes, because there's that much work to be done.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then some.
That work to be done. When we're talking about our physical health, we know that our community is definitely plagued, and we really see it now with COVID-19, with diabetes and hypertension, with lupus, with obesity. And so, there's work there with our politics. We know we got to activate our community to vote, right?
Yes, we do.
Especially our young people. There's work there. When we talk about education, we're talking about our schools and the inequality within our school system.
Yes.
There's work there. We try to touch all areas of life where Black people are impacted. That's the work of Delta. That's why I love it. That's why I do it. It is a tremendous work, and that's why there's always somebody inviting you to something or asking you to assist us in our endeavors. Let me see. Just this past weekend, there was a walk for the United Negro College Fund of the Divine Nine. Of course, the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated raised the most amount for the UNCF, and that was over $7,000.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there's always work to be done, especially for us.
Yeah. But did you notice how she smiled when she started talking about them asking us for stuff?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, she went in the straight sell mode. and that's good. That's good.
I know. Because like you said, the work is never done. The laborers are few.
That's right.
So we have to get out there and get them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. If you know of anything that you guys got planned with this whole thing with the absentee voting or with the whole thing with absentee voting, are there any plans from your alumni chapter to assist folks with getting their ballots turned in or getting to the polls, anything like that?
We've been having some virtual events with the candidates before the primaries. We had some of those events online. I'm sure there will be some things over at the house to assist folks with getting the vote out, but pretty much due to the social distancing, everything that we've done regarding the election and voting, most of it has been through Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm gonna put this out there because a lot of folks are trying to figure out ways that they can assist with people getting their ballots to their county clerk, city clerk, whatever, to deposit. And so I'm just wondering if there's something you guys might have planned, because I know when it gets closer to election time, y'all gonna have all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, like that.
So you know what? So you're talking to the right person. So I would
I
definitely take that back. That is something that we could do
Right.
to assist people to turn their ballots in. Absolutely.
Right. I know I'm talking to the right person.
Hey, now it's time for that famous question.
Right. Okay. So we always ask this question
Okay.
of all our guests. The name of the show is Things My Mother Never Told Me.
Okay.
And so we asked our guests, is there something that you've discovered in your journey that your mother never told you about, didn't prepare you for, that you wish she had? And if there is, what was it?
I know. And that's like, we're not trying to shame mothers.
They try to shame mother.
No, and I'm struggling because I had and of course everybody thinks their mother and knows and should know that they had the best mother, right? The best mother for them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was world class,
Right?
And she was from the South, and she had me later in life, and so my mother did not leave a stone unturned. She literally did not. Even not, like, I hear her talking to me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
In reference to different situations. Like if I'm cooking something, I know what to do next because I may have made it with her.
Okay.
That's a good one, Damon. You got me on that one. Keep talking. I'm gonna think about that.
Well, look. Let me tell you. I'll give you last week's guest. Well, she was on Saturday. We did a special episode Saturday, and when she answered the question, she said basically the same thing you did, except what her caveat is that they told me, they pumped me up so much about what I could do that when it came time for me to not do, I was running on high and I went ahead and tried to do. So instead of allowing people to help her, she tried to do everything by herself. And so,
okay.
Yeah, so it's not, so like I said, like Tanya said, it's not an indictment. It's just the idea that most of us at one time or another come up against something that we didn't get schooling on from our parents. Most of us. It varies.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. My mother loved to shop,
mm-hmm.
and she had every credit card possible, and so
that's one of the favorite ones.
Yes, and so as I got older, well, I just did what she did. I'm gonna
get
every credit card possible, right? But she never told me that there is a such thing as having too much credit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I found that out the hard way. Clearly somebody told me, oh, you have too much credit. So
is there such a thing too? I was saying the same thing. Because I remember that time when they told me that. You got too much. What?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
So yes, that is definitely something she did not tell me because she had too much herself.
and she was making it work.
She saw nothing wrong with it.
Right, she was making it work.
Hey Damon, they still sit in her books and credit cards like, lady, you ain't been shopping lately.
Right. Well, I'll let you know that 2 other guests said that.
Yes, they did. They said, my mother didn't tell me nothing about credit.
Credit is, because what we find out is that in our community, and especially when you get to our generation and then those following us, credit is not a subject that we spend a lot of time talking about.
Not at all.
And I actually saw a post on Facebook where somebody put that we need to stop teaching Algebra 2 and teach about credit cards, retirement, and all those financial things that are real life deals, that we need to start teaching that in the schools.
Mm-hmm.
because we leave school ill-equipped to deal with financial pitfalls. So
very true.
I know that's what I'm telling you. Everybody was saying that too, because like you said, we're so used to doing without or making things do.
Right.
Then when somebody offers, say, you mean I can use this any way I want? Yeah, and we ain't think about paying the bill. We just
no.
They ain't tell us like you got to pay that at the end of the month or pay for this or you know what I'm saying, and do this and you'll get an increase but you still got to pay. You know what I'm saying?
Or they just give you an increase without even asking.
Yeah, you're right. If you at least if you're trying to pay some of it back, they give you an increase.
Because I will say this, I think the biggest problem that a lot of folks have with credit is that minimum payment, because they look at the minimum payment. Oh, I ain't got to pay with $20 a month. Oh, okay, I can afford that.
Yeah.
Now realizing that in 3 years you will have tripled.
Yes.
You have to pay on that little $100 item. So yeah. So we need to know that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so that's one of the main things they were talking about there.
Okay, so you passed the test.
Yes. He was right up there with him, I tell you.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple more of these questions from your bio, because
Okay.
I see that you did city council's candidate screening.
Yes. So when the candidates announce that they are running for whichever office, city council and for school board, I have sat on several screening committees with the 13th Congressional District and with the AFL-CIO, the Metro Detroit AFL-CIO
Right.
Screenings. Yes, because the candidate is looking for an endorsement from those organizations.
Right.
So they have a panel of community members that will ask them questions, and based upon their answers, score them, and then make an endorsement thereafter.
Okay.
All right.
And that's good to know, because a lot of times we think that the candidates just get endorsed because it's somebody's friend or something. But,
No.
Yeah.
No, there's a screening committee. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. And is that do you know if that was just for those organizations that you spoke of, or was it commonplace?
Oh no, there's lots of screen. So you know how when you go to vote at your precinct,
right,
and you get these different slates. So there's a black slate,
right,
and the black slate has been interviewed or whatever and collected information and endorsed based upon the information that they received.
Mm-hmm.
Then the 13th Congressional, they screened people. The 14th, the Wayne County. So there's all sorts of caucus that will screen and endorse. Yes, and so the candidates are looking to collect as many endorsements as possible.
Right. So they got to have their stuff together.
All right, that is interesting.
That's good.
Yeah, I didn't know that, all that behind the scenes. Yeah.
Okay, now let's jump over this quote. Malcolm X.
Yes. Malcolm X is my my favorite figure in Black history.
Okay.
He is, and I know that most people say Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks. People just have a negative view of Malcolm X because he said by any means necessary. And he has that picture where he's standing out, looking out the window with a rifle.
Right. Looking at people trying to kill him.
Exactly. Malcolm X, when you read his story, you will understand how he went through all those different metamorphoses.
Yes.
So he was born into a family where his entire paternal side was murdered by the Klan. Okay. From there, his mother lost custody of him and his siblings, and they went into foster care. And this is in Upper Michigan, around the Lansing area. Again, very racist. They told Malcolm, although he was the president of his school, that he should just be a carpenter because Black people don't become lawyers. He was very discouraged. He went to Boston area and there was turned out, right? Yeah. Because you live in the country out towards Lansing, you've never seen, Black folks in the city. What city folk look like, right?
That's right.
And so, he was immediately, I want that. And so, you know what we do when we have, little guidance, thus began a life of crime. But once he was incarcerated, he began worshiping his God at that time, and read the dictionary. And I just love that. He read the dictionary. He educated himself. He didn't have a master's degree. He didn't have a PhD, and he didn't have a Nobel Peace, but he is one of the most talked about political figures. A jailbird, a drug addict, a burglar, a foster child. He is one of the most renowned figures within our history, and he was about transforming the lives of all of our brown brothers and sisters.
Right.
And once he found that there were some issues in the organization,
Yeah.
issues in the organization, he didn't let that stop him. He didn't let that stop him in his pursuit of his God, right?
Right.
So he went to Mecca, and he made that pilgrimage and found that the religion was much bigger than what he initially thought.
Right.
And so there begins another metamorphosis where Islam is more than just Black people. Islam is anybody who is worshiping Allah. And all of our lives need to be transformed. And so unfortunately, he was murdered shortly after he came back from that pilgrimage. His message had totally changed at the end of his life. And guess what? Martin Luther King's message had changed at the end of his life, because he stated that integration was like sending our Black people into a burning down house, because we were so busy trying to integrate it in segregation. But what people didn't understand was that Master's house wasn't all that.
Right.
Sending folks into it. So I mean, you know, so to speak.
Yes.
Right.
So yes, Malcolm X is my favorite political figure. His daughter came to the Dynamic Detroit Alumni chapter last year, and she did a book sign. I was able to meet her, get my book signed. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Where I teach at the men's prison, in the evenings, I do require it read in my class, and I purchase my own set of books for the men to read.
Okay, and that's a good segue.
Yeah.
But before we segue, people need to read Malcolm's story.
Yes.
With an open mind and understand that like you said, the Malcolm that was assassinated wasn't the same Malcolm that is portrayed in the media, without a doubt.
And if you listen to any of his recordings, even when he was at his height of radicalism, so to speak, everything that he said in the 60s is relevant now.
Is relevant now.
Right. And when he
Everything.
said, when he said by any means necessary, that wasn't all that he said.
No.
that was just the line that they took out of what he said, because that was the most radical of what he said. But he said more than that. And that, so yeah. So this outreach, this prison ministry thing, what's happening?
Oh, I'm an employee.
Yeah, I know.
But you know what? It is a ministry. Because not most people would do it. I've always had a second job. My mother would say, "Why are you always working?" But you know what? She always had a second job too, because she was a pianist at church. Okay. And so that is a second job, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
So I applied with Wayne County Community College, and they asked for, did I want to teach a GED class? Sure, no problem. But then the class was not on campus. The class, because they have satellite campuses, and this satellite campus was at the prison. So I was a little leery at first, afraid even.
I understand.
And once I got in there, I love it.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy. I really do enjoy it. And due to COVID, they're not letting anyone in right now. So I miss it. I miss my students. I miss it.
Right. Well, I know Educate, because we know some folks at our church who do prison ministry work. And they say the same thing that you say, that they love it. It's a passion. It really is.
Yes. Because they're people.
Yeah.
They're just people that made a mistake, and we all made a mistake, and some
continue to make them.
We could have been jailed for, right? But we weren't. And so whatever it is that they did, they're in prison for, and there are some really, really great men that have atone for whatever it was that they did in their youth.
Yes.
And I think that they are deserving of a second chance, but
Right.
because of their sentencing and the laws, they may not be able to do so. But there are some really great people behind bars, and we really need to take a total overhaul, because I hate the word reform.
Mhm.
We just need a new way of in our criminal justice system. We just need a totally new way.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right.
why I like that when Sam Jackson was in Shawshank Redemption and they called him in there and he said that I wish I could see that young man that did that crazy thing.
Yes.
I would like to meet him and
Morgan
tell him.
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Put Sam
Oh
in there.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Morgan Freeman.
Sam would have been there killing people.
Anyway, he done made his way out.
Right. But you know, the thing about it is it's funny that what you just said about how we need to look at reform, because the way we treat people who we incarcerate is the same way we treat, this is a crazy comparison, the same way we treat our children in school. We take us a one size fits all way to educate and a one size fits all way to discipline folks who make a mistake. And we need, and especially when you're a person of color, you know, we throw you in the, you know, this in the school system, we try to teach everybody the exact same way. Everybody don't learn the same way.
No.
They don't learn the same way. And I heard a quote years ago where they said the best teachers don't try to put anything into the students, they try to pull it out of them.
Yes.
Yeah. And so with people who we incarcerate, we for some of the smallest crimes, people spending almost a lifetime in prison, and people who have done far worse than them, and just because they had money and a lighter complexion, are walking around talking about it. You know, it's just crazy.
So true.
Right. So you have a well-rounded life and stuff that you do. How did you find time to get married?
I really do. I am thankful to God that we found each other.
Yes.
And we are a great fit for each other. We've known each other a long time, since 1999, and would talk and just, we were friends, and I was younger, and I just thought that he was older, and I wasn't interested. And I don't even know if he was interested in me, but
I didn't think he was gonna make it. I was like, oh, he stuck it out. He made it. He won.
I'm gonna tell him too. And you know, we just always been friends, and he's just always been nice. And he invited me. He wrote me a letter. I lost the letter. Going back to school about 8 years ago, I'm digging through my book bag and I find this letter, and he wrote it for my birthday in November. Well, it's August. And I said, oh God, Michael wrote me a letter and I didn't even say thank you.
Wow.
Months later. So I called him and I said, oh, Michael, you came by my office and you put a letter on my door and I lost it. But I'm just calling to say thank you, and I hope I'm not interrupting you, because I hadn't talked to him in about a year or two. Sure. He was like, oh, I'm cutting the grass, I'll call you back. But hey, that's what I deserve, right?
Right.
So I said, okay, we got off the phone, he called back, and we talked as we normally would. He said, you want to go out to eat? We had gone out before, and that one date, on my way walking back to my car, I said, Lakia, why don't you want somebody to be nice to you? Now I know that sounds crazy
because everybody like them bad boys. So yeah.
Well, and no, all of the men that I've ever been with, they've always been nice to me. What? But Michael is a different nice. Okay. It's a difference. It's a big difference. So he asked that I want to go out again, and again we have gone out to different things before, and never anything. And so he asked me, and we went out again. And again, I'm talking to myself like, okay, Lakia, if this goes somewhere, just let it. And so I just let it go, and I just enjoyed. And I think I was very upfront and honest in my expectations. Please say excuse me. That's my coworker.
No.
And it. Who would have thunk it, right?
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
Right.
And so here we are 8 years later. And he supports me in all of the stuff that I come up with, and I have come up with some stuff and have done some things and want to do others, and he is right there supporting and encouraging and adding to the plate. Would you believe that?
All right.
Adding to the plate of of some things that he sees me doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Not to mention that 5-year-old that you got right there.
yes.
Girl, it's a busy job juggling that kind of stuff.
Yes, it is. I'm blessed though. I'm so blessed. I talk to people who have been by themselves during this pandemic.
Yes.
And they have really, people that don't have family or don't have children, they have really struggled.
They have really struggled. You're correct.
Right. And I asked you that because I don't know. I know it was a story that needed to be told. So lastly, and we're gonna let you go. Anything you want to share with the folks that might be listening out there?
Anything I want to share? I think we need to do more sharing. I think in our community, we have so many hangups and stigmas and misconceptions that we don't talk to each other about what's really important. We don't talk to each other about where we are mentally. We don't talk to each other when we're in rough spots. We think we have to be tough, and we hide it, and we're struggling internally, and we have to step away from that. We have to start looking for help, asking for help when the time is needed.
Right.
So I think we need to do a better job of just talking to one another, and then those that are in a better position need to do a better job, and I'm including myself of checking in. Just checking in, and not to say that everyone's doing bad, but you just never know.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
So.
All right. Thank you for that.
I really enjoyed you, Lakia.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoyed you.
Here.
I've learned so much about you.
Right.
I already knew you was a busy lady. And I'm glad we was able to pinpoint you, and touch base with you in a time like this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It worked out perfect, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it did. Well, the Lord don't make no mistakes. He
No, he doesn't. I went to a school at 5. I went to a school at 5. I left at 5:40. The school right off Evergreen, and I came right and said, I gotta get home by 6.
Well, we appreciate you.
Right.
I'm telling you,
Right.
and I know our listeners do.
Thank you. I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we gonna need you
David
after
knows.
this.
David knows I'm a talker.
No, really?
Oh, you did great. You did great.
You can't be in leadership in Laces and Easter Stars without talking. you just can't. So again, we thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. You shared more than some. I got into your business a little bit, but I thought it was important that folks hear that if we get out of the way, whatever God has for us, we're gonna get it. But
yes.
Sometimes we are in the way.
Yeah, he delays the blessing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and like you said, well, let me just see where this going, not trying to push it and force it. You
Yes.
say no, and look at you now.
Because you know what? If the Lord gives you something and you're not ready, you're not going to do anything but throw it away.
Yes.
And that's a Bible verse. Don't cast your pearls among swine lest they trample them. So you giving out your best, and the next person can't even appreciate it, right?
Yes.
Because they're not ready. And clearly, 1999, I know I wasn't ready. I had about 23, 24, full of game.
Right.
I know I was not ready.
Like Conrad Birdie said, you had a lot of living to do. Oh, it's been a blast, Lakia. Thank you so much.
Blast. It sure has.
And as this thing goes forward with the school, we're gonna look forward to having you back again to get an update on what's happening.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So you take care. Love you.
Okay, you too. Love you too.
Tell Mike said hi.
Okay, I will.
All right.
Good
All right.
night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye now.